Hello everyone. Before this next edition of Cass's Kitchen, I would like to tell you a little story. Now, in the Quad City area where I am based, there has been a recent controversy featuring pickle wheels, pinwheels, Midwestern sushi, whatever it is you want to call it. The classic ham and pickle wrap with a cream cheese filling. There has been people going back and forth online about the origin, who did it best, and who was the first to offer it in restaurants in the local area. Well, it is time for me to throw my hat into the mix, if you will, because this is a recipe of my family going back several generations. This delicacy, this Illinois delicacy, is something that my family has feasted upon for every conceivable style of meal, whether it was breakfast, brunch, lunch, appetizers, of course. I mean, that's without stating, and most of all, dessert. So while, certain cafes that serve fresh food are all like, well, we sold it in restaurants first, my family has gone so far to serve this delight in every single course. Today, I'm going to share you my multi-generational recipe for pickle pinwheel, pickle spiral, Midwest sushi ice cream. Okay, so we are in the kitchen. We are at the stove, specifically, obviously. This is going to be slightly different than our previous ice cream recipe, as we were focusing on cream cheese and powdered sugar rather than just the traditional custard. Going on here, I will be trying to multitask the best I can. Luckily, one shouldn't be terribly horrible because it's just concentrating. So, the first thing we're going to do is get the custard set up. And I got my batch of ingredients kind of sitting all around me. First thing I'm going to do is pop in about 4 ounces, about half a package of cream cheese, cubed into tiny little bits. And then let's turn this on, because that is mildly important as well. Put it on medium heat. And then next we are going to put in about 3/4 cup, a little bit more actually, of powdered sugar. And then our final wet ingredient is going to be about 1.5 cups of whatever half and half brand you choose. Again, we don't need full-on cream for this because of the cream cheese, so we already got our fat content in here. So there's about 1 cup. There's, I overfilled it, about the half. And we are going to let that go. Whisk. Yes, we are whisking. Can't see her because she's not up high enough, but I have my kitchen assistant, Affogato, here with us. Yeah? I don't know if they can hear you. I know. So we are going to let this go for a bit, and just whisking it periodically. And while that is, we're going to work on our pickle juice concentrate. We want to kind of make a loose syrup. Even though syrup's not the proper word because we're not going to add any sugar to it, but we're going to make a concentrated pickle juice. And all you need for that is just another saucepan, which I have in the back burner over here. And I'm going to use about 1/4 cup of pickle juice. You can use whatever pickle juice you so desire, for whatever, flavor you're going for. But we are definitely going for kind of like the hamburger dill for this particular recipe. So we're going to turn that on too. and let that go. The pickle juice only needs to be on until it reduces about halfway, and then we will start incorporating that into our cream base. So again, keeping a track of everything. Pickle juice will have to boil for a bit, as will our custard base. Now's the boring part, as we wait for everything to incorporate properly. So we'll probably just go ahead and jump cut until the point we get to the eggs. Just make it easy for everybody else. Alright, it's been a handful of minutes. I'm currently listening to the pickle juice reduce. It could probably be turned off anytime now, so we're just going to go ahead and do that. Again, we're reducing it, getting some of the extra liquid out, making a concentrate out of it. Over here in the dairy and sugar, I've gotten the cream cheese kind of whipped down, so it's now all just one homogeneous cream-based slurry. And it's going to be time to temper our eggs, or well, one egg yolk to be precise. If you're new to this kind of thing and you missed my real ice cream video, be sure that you temper the egg. And that basically, egg yolk, because I can't talk, so temper the egg yolk. And this basically means bring the egg yolk slowly to the temperature of your cream base. Because if you cook the egg too quickly, it will just scramble and it won't incorporate into the liquid. So we are just going to take a little bit of the sauce, slowly kind of get that all worked in together. And then get the egg back in there. And now we play the whisking game again. So get your egg in there, get that going. And again, we want this smooth, creamy, and this will be the official custard base for the ice cream. Forever whisking. Again, with the cream cheese, you want it to be smooth, soft. It's gonna thicken a bit. It's gonna be groovy. And once we get that in there, we're going to add the pickle juice. Okay. I'm going to turn off the heat. Gonna whisk this a bit more, turn down the heat, let it cool down, and once the custard is sufficiently cool, I'm going to put it in the freezer to solidify and become frozen. And then once that's complete, we'll work on our next steps of churning the ice cream. In the meanwhile, I am going to clean up this mess and then create a new mess so we can enter phase 2. All right. Our custard is still firming up in the freezer, but while this is going on, we might as well just take the next step in the process and come up with our ham caramel sauce. The base is just some variation of butterscotch or caramel. We'll go through as follows. Little saucepan. I have about a ½ cup of brown sugar, tightly packed. Pop that in there. I have about 2 tablespoons of real butter. about a third of a cup, half and half. And oh no, I already contaminated it because I didn't get all of the label off. Ew. Gonna turn this up over medium heat. Make sure we get all the liquid in here. And we're gonna let this start cooking. It should take about, I don't know, 5 minutes or so to fully incorporate. But we're just gonna want to melt the butter, dissolve the sugar, and then while that's going, we can start thinking about adding our secret ingredient. That won't be secret, of course, because this is an instructional video. So as the butter's melting, we'll get our secret ingredient. This is about half a teaspoon or so of ham soup base. My ancestors obviously used, real ham to do this, but I don't feel like getting a ham, pureeing it, and all that good stuff when I can just, pop in a little bit of soup base and get it about the same. So, just this. And as per our brittle video, you are going to want to watch the heck out of this because it will go from like tolerable to burnt in no time flat. So we are just going to constantly whisk this until it gets all nice and incorporated, and then we're going to just continue whisking it for the rest of our lives. Let's face it. Okay, that's a lie, of course, because in like 3 minutes, this will start burning if we, don't do something with it. But get that going, whisking forever. Watch out for your soup base. That will like to clump. And we don't just want to clump a soup base in the middle of our caramel sauce. All right, it is starting to bubble up a bit. Keeping an eye on it, we probably got about a minute, maybe 2 to go. And we're going to want to take it off the heat pretty darn quickly once we do it. Okay, so as I finish this little talk up, I'm going to turn the heat off. We're going to get it off the burner and just continue to whisk it. It is incredibly hot. Don't get it on your skin because it is viscous. So once it's on your skin, it will stay on your skin forever, giving you all the burns known to mankind. But here we go. It is getting thicken up. We might want to put it back on for a moment longer, just to let it thicken up a touch more. But it is looking pretty. And so let this thicken up. We will let it set, and then we'll pop this back on the next time, well, when the custard is ready to be churned. Okay, we are finally back. It's been a day or 2 or 3 or 5 years, something of the like. But our ice cream is set. Our caramel sauce wasn't very saucy. We had to reheat that, so it was like a solid piece of caramel. So I now had pork caramel candy. Yeah, that doesn't work for ice cream purposes. But I have a sample size of said ice cream here. I totally chose the wrong bowl to do this, but yeah, look at that good stuff. So, pickle roll dessert, pickle roll ice cream, Midwestern delicacy, secret family recipe once again. Let's give her a try for y'all.
That's good family recipe.
Yeah. Ew. All right. In all seriousness, that one is about as well as expected. Few things more on the technical front. There is way too much salt. I mean, just in general, that we're very heavy on ice crystals. So compared to my other attempts at ice cream, this isn't quite as smooth, like texturally, as my others. And then the pork ham soup base also affected the caramel texture as well. So that wasn't as pleasing of a texture as normal caramel. And then, of course, the flavor. Honestly, though, is about everything you can expect from pickle roll sundae ice cream. Very much, the ice cream was very much pickly. The caramel was definitely had the ham saltiness to it. But yeah, it's just a lot of salt. Honestly, like that was like my biggest complaint about all this. Believe it or not, I mean, if you're wrong, it turns out pickle ice cream is kind of gross. But let's face it, we knew that going into it. But really, like ignoring that, if we can just figure out the textural issues, like in terms of doing what it's supposed to, big success. It's disgusting. Not gonna lie. Oh, I'm a professional. I have my sidekick. Ignore the gross ice cream. Look at the kitty. The kitty and I would like to thank you for tuning in to see this monstrosity and letting me just rattle on incoherently for however long this video lasts. It's greatly appreciated. Of course, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Leave comments. Go check out the links below. You know, get yourself 15% off Ray's energy drinks or workout powder or the melatonin. Which maybe I'll just melatonin myself to sleep so I don't have to remember any of this. Go be free. But remember, Dad's money is based on cuteness, and Dad's not cute by himself. Don't bite my feet. That's also not how Dad makes money. Thank you. But speaking of making Dad's money, of course, check out the links, check out the podcast. I would be remiss if I didn't mention, you know, the budget balancing things that I have to you know, help offset the costs of me ruining a thing of ice cream or any kitchen utensils or my medical bills because it sent me into shock or Dawn beats me to death. So check out the Ko-Fi, ko-fi.com/Casanova. That's just a tip jar kind of thing if you're not in the know. And then there's also the Patreon, so patreon.com/Casanova. Both of those are CASSONOVA. The Patreon backers get a little bit more bang for your buck, pun intended. You know, 2 updates weekly at the minimum. Early access to YouTube videos such as this and the podcast. Exclusives that are just for you guys as well. And just all the cool stuff. So shouts out to Maverick45 and Alan Schroeder, who's been there pretty much since the beginning, and everyone else who's taken part along this ride. So thank you very much. Like, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. Save the kittens that were chewing on my feet.